on this episode of the Business Communicators.
We need to make changes, and we need to figure out what those changes are and enact them and not just play the political game. Be the voice of change. Let's make some changes. Let's not stay the status quo.
You're listening to the Business Communicators. And now your hosts, Austin Stenton, Hattie Horn, and Thomas Bain.
Welcome to Season 4, Episode 16 of the Business Communicators, the #1 podcast in the world for communications and marketing professionals, and that's a verifiable fact. My name is Austin Stenton, joined alongside my co-host Hattie Horn and Thomas Bain on this Memorial Day, and we're taking you on a journey as we explore the world of communications, discuss the key issues and trends that impact our industry, and we'll be joined here shortly by Michael Burton, who is using his unique skills as a musician to make waves in a creator space. I think it's a conversation that we're really excited to have here, and Hattie secured the guest. And so Hattie, I'll start with you. How are things going for you this week?
Everything's going well. It's a holiday, so what can I say? You get a long weekend, you welcome it. It's all about the Netflix and food.
Oh, Stranger Things came out on Friday, the new season. So
I have never seen that.
You should start. There's 4 seasons out, I think.
Oh man, I may be the only person that has not seen that, as well as This Is Us.
I have not seen This Is Us, but honestly, I'm not like Katie likes the show, but I'm not. I don't know. I don't like the emotional, draining TV shows.
Exactly.
I'm not about that life.
No.
Especially when there's so much like negativity in the world and depression. Yeah. Like I don't want to watch TV about that. Give me Survivor. How about that?
I don't feel bad. Give me comedy. I'll take Emily and Perry.
Oh yeah. Well, we already know that's the greatest show of all time. So
they wish.
Thomas, how's it going?
It's going. This is the first time I've had to relearn what it is to make a schedule for the entire summer and where's at summer camps and who's where and who's doing this, because school in Houston is out. And so have a first grader now roaming around trying to stay entertained. She caught a big skink today, so a big lizard that she's showing off right now.
Well, okay then.
But I wish I could watch Netflix. I will say that This Is Us season 1, first couple seasons was pretty good. After that, not so much.
That's like the truth with most shows, right? They realize the early success and they want to try to draw it out. That's actually one of the things that I like about Netflix. And you even take a show like Ted Lasso, for example, on Apple TV. They understand the show arc, and I think this is going to be the last season of Ted Lasso this summer, season 3. And they understand that it's a great show, and they don't want to make it like The Office, where it goes like 14 years, and it plays too long. So I think that's probably the right recipe to keep people engaged constantly.
Yeah,
but
leave while you're on top.
Exactly.
But if you want a drama and you like the comedy and the Survivor, Drive to Survive is a pretty good one.
100%. We need to get someone from F1 on the podcast. That would be.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think for me, it was quite a busy week. Did some media and crisis training up in Kilgore, Texas, and that was definitely a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed that. But we would be remiss if we didn't speak about the atrocity that happened in Uvalde, Texas, which is probably about 200 miles west of, maybe 400 miles west of where we are in Houston. So we'll get into that here in a little bit, but we just want to remind you all to follow us on all social channels. Just search @BizCommunicator on all the platforms. You'll find us there. And you can also visit our website, thebusinesscommunicators.com. But right now, we're excited to welcome in our guest for the week. And it's Michael Burton, who started rapping for fun as a teenager and fell in love with the art form. And U of H grad, go Cougs. Excited to have you guys in the Big 12. We've got myself, a Baylor guy, Thomas, a Texas Tech guy. So it'll be fun during football season here in Texas coming up. And we already know that Kelvin Sampson is an amazing basketball coach. U of H on the hardwood.
You notice they just count me out because I went to an HBCU. Prairie View A&M may not have a great football team, but
they have the best damn band in the land.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Yeah, absolutely. But Michael, so 2015, you decided to, start leveraging your rap skills on Fiverr, which at the time, I don't know that I was really familiar with Fiverr until probably about 3 to 4 years ago. But you started, I guess, selling your music on there for just $5, which I think is a steal. And you were doing 20 to 30 second videos, and you've sort of made this your career focus, moving forward. And, I think I was reading a story about you, and it said that, clients have been your focus, and that you've written raps, explaining autism, for cheerleaders, expressing, love raps for one band to another, birthday raps, so on and so forth. Tell me kind of how you got started in Fiverr, and what was it that kind of got you into that platform?
I found out about the platform through getting some artwork done on Fiverr. I thought it was only graphics design in 2011 when I found out. So it was artwork for a project I was doing. And then when I lost the job and I saw that people were actually rapping on there, I said, oh, people rap on here? I rap. So I dipped my toe in there just to see what type of requests people wanted. I thought they just wanted a good rapper, but come to find out people love custom things, songs, art about themselves, about their life. That's the reason we listen to music, because we relate to it and we apply memories to our own lives. It's almost never about the artist that made it. It's about how it connects with us. So finding that niche, if I make something that sounds professional and it's about you, custom made towards you with my skill, that's pretty much the pocket that I took.
I love that, like, capitalizing it. And Hattie, I'll get to you in a moment, but Michael, I do want to ask you this, you being, a Houston guy, going to U of H, Houston has probably one of the best rap scenes in the country. I mean, you always hear of, Atlanta, LA, and Houston with, Chopped and Screwed. And, we've got like such an influence. You look at some of the biggest stars right now, they're from Houston. You've got Travis Scott, you've got Meg Thee Stallion, you've got Lizzo, all people in this space that are blowing it up. I mean, what type of inspiration did you have from the city and the culture, and just the rich history in that space?
It's hard to even put into words. It's big. I would say my biggest influence came just the whole New Orleans all the way to Houston influence. I was born in New Orleans and grew up in Houston. So everything in between, going to visit my cousins, hearing what they bumping with Cash Money, and then coming back and hearing what DJ Screw's doing growing up. I didn't even listen to Screw that much when I was a kid, because it was omnipresent. It was everywhere. So I was kind of like, everybody likes it, I don't like it, because I grew up when it was like bubbling before he died, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. But I just remember, like, it was just so big everywhere, and to the fact that it's still existing now is really cool to be a part of that, But I was very much like, I want to listen to rock, I want to listen to R&B, I want to listen to everything but that. And you know what I'm saying? But I'm so proud to be a part of it.
When I was reading the article on Acorn, what really pulled me in was how you use your art and how you use your talent to help businesses communicate better. And want to get an idea of, how did that get started? How did businesses find you? And also, what kind of messages are they requesting from you?
The main thing, I actually took communications in University of Houston because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it come to find out, that's all we're doing now. Everybody is communications pros with Instagram, with social media. So it just kind of happenstance. Businesses reached out to me, I can't remember when, but they said they want to connect with the youth, or they want to connect with the audience, and they wanted a rap talking about their brand. And I said, okay, cool. A lot of times they'll give me a lot of jargon, they'll give me articles, and then as years went on, I said, hey, let's not, if you can't simplify it, I can't rap it. I'm not going to rap jargon to your clients. They don't care about that. They'll tell me, oh, this is all the things we've accomplished. I said, that's cool for, your colleagues, but if you're trying to talk to customers, they don't care. What can you do for me? You know what I'm saying? So I had to, as the years went on, I had to tailor to figure out what their message is and how they stand out. And then I had to make it into a tapestry of making it into a easy, digestible rhyme. It's taking time to figure out what they're trying to say, and then relay it over music and make it sound interesting. Because to be honest with you, when you listen to the songs, you're not reading the lyrics. Like, music is audible, it's not a book. So when you try to cram a million ideas, it sounds horrible. Listening to it, it just sounds like too much. So when you think of the songs you love, you think they're so poetic. You read them. It's a couple of words. It's very simple, but simple is powerful. And it took me a while to figure out, that's cool. Find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I go, come on, that's simple. That's number one hit. You know what I'm saying? It's very simple, but it gets to the point. And with Audible, you got to get to the point. You can't ramble. So it's been a cool journey to work with businesses because I got to learn something in my own artwork that I didn't know about, because the main thing with rap is you want to be as metaphoric, as articulate as, but simple works just fine,
I love the 50 Cent reference there. Also,
Oh, you got to represent 50 Cent. You got to.
Got here as fast as he could. My question is, you kind of touched on it, as your influences, where you come up with your music, and who influences you. How do you get the drive to kind of create the interesting sound bites, or the interesting jingles, or the interesting raps that draw on the attention? You mentioned rock and other ones like that. And I was just wondering if you kind of steer towards one influence more than the other.
I was raised on R&B, on soul, on gospel. So before rap was even a factor, my dad was playing Angela Winbush, Isley Brothers. So my core, my DNA, strip away rap, it's that. So there was always melody. And then when I heard Criss Cross in 1990, when I heard the Brat, when I heard Biggie, and I think when I got about 15, when Eminem came out with Marshall Mathers, when Andre 3000, everything from the late 90s to the 2000s, that's when I started to hone in how I want to say what I want to say. It's like, but melody was always the component. And because rap is going more melodic, it was already in me because I understood how melodies worked and what grabs my attention, So that's what it is. But man, I'm listening to freaking Soundgarden, and I'm listening to everything that has something that grabs me. I'm gonna listen to it. I'm listening to freaking Little Richard the other day because I was just so fascinated with his story. And Rip It Up. There's a song called Rip It Up, and I'm just like learning it on the keys. There's no block to the influence. You just take it off and then you spew it back out in a way that you want, because that's pretty much what it is. But I would say my main influence, if I had to pick one person, it would probably be Prince. It'd probably be Prince. And I don't sound nothing like Prince. I sound nothing like Prince, but everything of his discography, once I learned that how he crafted everything, it changed my way of like, okay, I'm not limited to just rap. Okay, I can make the production. Okay, it just changed and I went to Paisley Park like 3 years ago, and I was just, I would say that would be the one person, because he said he can do it all, and he can do it well, and he can do it at a high level. So I always aspire to do me and have my voice in every last little piece of it.
People take it for granted that the message in the music is they're bopping their heads to it, but are you really listening to it? I love how we can use music as a form of expression to get our point across. And I really love how you use the words in your messages. They're 30 seconds long. You hear it just when I was on the site, and I said, okay, I get it. And that's what communication is all about. You listen and you digest and you understand quickly what somebody's trying to say. And as I was growing up, and I'm not going to date myself, I think the first form of expression of hip hop, or rap as people like to call it, was the Sugar Hill Gang.
Of course.
And, Marley Marl, and, but when you listen to the message and what it means, or what it meant to people at that time, it was very strong. It created a culture of people who believed in something. And what I like about that, businesses are taking advantage of this particular genre of music, rap, or whatever form you want to call it, and using it to their advantage to reach audiences, to build their business and strengthen their own communication. You can't take that for granted. That's powerful, and that's very powerful to me and how I see it.
I concur. And it has, if it's going to be rap, it has to go through a filter of real. Like I don't take on every project, but if I do, I have to kind of align with what you're saying to some degree, so I can be authentic. So when I'm rapping, it's like acting. Like I don't just rap and I say, yo, this is the brand. I actually have to like get excited, and then when I rap it, I put a lot of energy into, depending on the song. Like it has to come from a filter, and then that's how people feel it. They don't feel it with just the words. words can mean absolutely nothing, or they can mean everything. How you say it, they can mean nothing. I can tell you the most beautiful words, but if I don't sell it, it means nothing. So you have to feel it, and that's why I strive to make sure everything I record, even if it's about, the song Men in Black. Will Smith, they're singing about aliens, but she's singing that song. Coco from SWV is on that song, singing that song. And I'm like, this is about aliens, but I'm feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Like, feeling makes the world of difference. You can really influence a lot of people it's got to come across the right way. It's not even about the words a lot of times, but if the words are good, if your message is good and you feel it, that's it.
What does your creative process look like? I know that is something that is very important for, communications professionals is, if we're doing, some sort of marketing project or brand project, we're looking at, what are our, key performance indicators? How are we going to get there? When you're
Right.
developing a song, whether it's, for a brand or, just for your own personal, collection and your personal
Yeah.
brand, walk us through that creative process from, kind of start to finish, maybe how you're inspired. Is it
Mhm.
something where you hear a sound and maybe you're just, kind of creating those sounds and those beats and then kind of developing the song from there? Or what does that look like?
With businesses is different because I'll ask, what are you trying to say? Like, simple. Give me a word, give me a sentence. What do you want to say? And then I'll say, how do you want them to feel? Is it up tempo? Is it this? And once I have a few points that they want to say, then I can take it from there. Because I'm always going to give it authentically my style, and then we can adjust it. When I do my own music, it varies because I may play something on the piano that inspires me. I have a list of words that are titles that I just write, titles of songs, because that's, to me, is the coolest way to write. If I just come up with a title like uh on the I don't say on the I don't know, at the park, I don't know, something really silly, and then you look at that title and you say, what does that sound like? Boom, whatever you come up with, you just made a song, just because you're trying to figure out what that would sound like. It's that simple. Like, it's so powerful. And I found out Rod Temperton, the writer who worked with Quincy Jones, wrote Thriller, all those, he made like hundreds. I just found that out, but Alicia Keys does it too. When you write titles of songs that don't exist, your brain is automatically going to do the figuring out. Like, okay, well, problem solve. What does that song sound like? What would it sound like? And so that's cool. With businesses, I always work. What are you trying to say? If you can't simplify it, then you don't know what you want to say. But if you can, then I can take it from there. And then once I know that, I either make a beat or I already have some beats that I choose from, and then I'll come up with what are the words you want to say. You want to make an impact, and I'll say something like team. I don't know. Teamwork's important, and we staying intact. All we want to do is reach you, trying to make an impact. Dun, 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 dun. Connect the rhyming words. What do you want to say? Connect them. Connect. That's how you do it. If I can simplify it in the most simple form, that's how you do it. You know. And yeah, and the chorus is always based on a melody. You don't want to make a chorus based off of words, because dun 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 dun, what you need, if you need, you remember melody more important than you remember words.
Right.
How does that song go? Da, 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 da. I used to work at a record store, and they come in singing. I'll say, I don't know what you're talking about, but I kind of know the melody. So I just hum a melody first, and then if the melody only allows 2 or 3 words, then guess what? That's what the chorus is going to be. Because you remember, people will leave remembering a melody. They will not remember the words you said. So that's always how I work with the chorus, melody first.
I kind of want to ask a follow-up question to that because I know that
Sure.
Since 2020, TikTok has absolutely blown up. And we've
Yeah.
seen a lot of artists that have been discovered on TikTok.
Yeah.
And, even this past week, it was reported that, someone, I think Halsey actually came out and said that
I saw
her
that.
record label was, forced, they wouldn't
Mhm.
release songs until she could find like a
Mhm.
viral moment on TikTok. There's another song that went viral last year. It was called ABCDEFU. And
Yeah. I remember that.
that was manufactured. It was sort of this artist who, asked for feedback and comments. And I guess her publicist or someone on her team suggested that she should make a song like that. And then, of course, it went viral, became like a global sensation, and was a sound that was used often on TikTok. So my question to you is, when it comes to branding for you and kind of growing your brand and building your audience, How do you go about using social media to do that? And further, do you think platforms like TikTok that are putting pressure on artists and creatives to push content out there is good or bad?
I'll answer that one first, and then I'll say how I do it. If I'm totally honest, because I don't know, I knew about the housing thing. I think when they say that, it's hard to tell if they're being sincere or if that whole video of them saying they're trying to make me do this is a ploy to bring you into whatever they're doing.
Right.
Because TikTok is powerful. TikTok is amazing. Like, I know it's a change and it's a cultural shift, but that's what Instagram was 10 years ago. And it's very cool to see unknown people get a shot. I see people that were in obscurity, they get to go on tour with people. And anything that gives people a voice is always going to be supported by me. You know what I'm saying? I think it's cool. And a bigger artist, if a label is saying that, that means that they're fearful of this whole shift in the culture. And they're just like, do what they're saying, or we don't. They don't know. Labels, their role has changed so much that it feels like they're just like trying to scratch to make sure that they stay relevant. But I think things are going to be very different. We're going to look in 5 years from now, even award shows. I think things are just going to be so different. And change is good. Change is good. Things cannot be the same. Music can't be the same. That structure can't be the same. As far as how I do it, what I'm doing, before I was on Fiverr, originally I would just post videos, freestyles, this and that, without much return in regards to like fanfare or anything like that. And I was okay with it because I actually just love doing it. So I think Fiverr, how I operate with Fiverr is different than my own artwork. My own artwork, I just do it for the pure love. It has nothing to do with me trying to get tons of numbers. It's just a passion, love thing. And everybody who comments, I always reply to them because I just know that I'm not signed to a label and I have freedom to say what I want. And this is whatever you hear from me that's directly from me is just from me. And I just love having that freedom.
I think it's phenomenal that you went to Fiverr, because I've used Fiverr for logo designs and just basic stuff that I need. One hits, and I think that customized songs is phenomenal, especially following the record labels with who's getting paid, the songwriter, the production company, the recording label, and everything like that. And I think it's awesome that you have kind of streamlined and kept your foundation, creative licensing, and the ability to collect money. What is one of the ones that sticks out to you of one of the creations that you've done for a company, for an organization that just really saying true that you're like, man, that was amazing? Putting you on the spot. What's your favorite one? What's your best one? Kidding.
I know there's so many. I think the ones in Oslo in particular, there's two. I'll say two. There's several confirmations that happened in Oslo, and I knew nothing about that. I didn't know what that was. It was like a 3-minute song, and I'm rapping about it, and they're turning 15. So it was kind of like a birthday, but it wasn't. And then I looked it up, and they were saying, "My friend, we love it. We got some more people," and they kept referring people, and I'm just like, "Y'all like rap out there in Oslo?" I'm very geographically ignorant as far as the what music you listen to, but they just loved it. And I think the other one that I really enjoyed was a entrepreneur speaker by the name of April. I actually connected with her in Las Vegas, and I did a song for her seminar. But when I went out there, it was nothing, a panel of women, and it was so powerful. I just love seeing representation in all facets, because we're inundated with a lot of things saying that there's not representation, be it your culture, your race. So when I see women just connecting, and they had a seminar, and I'm doing a rap for them, and we're making a video about women empowerment, I was like, it don't get no better than this. I like this. This is cool. This is what I like to see. You know what I'm saying? So I really love those. But there's so many. But that one in particular stood out because I actually got to see it being played, and it was really cool. It was really cool.
I wanted to ask, with regards to the music that you create, the people that receive it, it becomes theirs. Do you have an archive or a library that you keep that's copyrighted, and do you receive some sort of
royalties
off of it?
Royalties.
Those kinds of things. Well, how does that work for you?
What I do is considered work for hire. So it's all entailed that you're free to use said product how you so please. The only time that it shifts is if they want to buy the instrumental that I use outright, and then we work that. But it's still work for hire. I'm not requesting royalties because these are personal projects. A lot of these are just for them to use for their platform or personal projects like birthday songs. So if I were to convolute it with royalties and all that, it would make things messy. And I get it. And a lot of times it may seem confusing as an artist. You're like, well, why don't you want to collect them? There's circumstances where royalties and all that are worked out, but I try to keep it as clean and as like free to use as possible. I think that's part of the appeal, because a lot of times when you have podcasts, when you have YouTube channels and they get a strike for copyright, it's so confusing. Like, where do I get something that's mine, but I can use it? And that's kind of where I try to like play that line. Like, yeah, I made this for you. I don't keep any of the lyrics I write. Everything's from scratch. So if you're saying you can just reuse something else, I don't remember it. I've done like thousands of songs. There's no way to remember this. So I have to write everything from scratch. And I enjoy doing it, but that's where I tiptoe. So for product is like, I was on a song for Netflix. That's a different situation, you know? Mm-hmm. But if it's for a podcast, it's for YouTube, it's birthdays. I'm not being like, all right, now I know y'all having a birthday party, but I'm gonna need my cut. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to do
that. You get paid in cake.
Yeah. I'm gonna need the cake and I'm gonna need my cheese, if you get what I'm saying, you know?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
You spoke of Netflix. How did you get that gig?
Yeah. That was via Fiverr, and didn't believe it at first. It's very hard to read words and believe everything you hear, obviously, you know. They said, we're gonna try to pitch this to Netflix and we're gonna work with you, and this is the song, this is the concept. And I did it, and you know, compensated, and they said this is what's gonna happen. And I said, okay. And then they said the show's coming out Friday. And I said, yeah, all right. Now, this is what I said to myself. I'm not gonna tell them that. And then they sent me the link. I said, oh, this is for real. Now I skimmed the episode. I didn't even watch it at first. And I said, oh, this is for real. Yeah, so that's how it was.
I see it's really popular show. Oh my God.
Yeah. I was like, what? So I'm calling grandfather. I'm on a Netflix show. Mama, I'm on a Netflix show. Yeah, I'm pretty much the main character. I don't know. I started embellishing. I don't know. They're going to season 2.
I think that's a good lesson for people to understand, is like, there is some incredible talent on Fiverr. You know, I think there are brands, whether it's a large brand or a small brand. And I think sometimes, you know, especially if they're like looking for video and creative content. I'm a member of a few like Facebook groups that talk about like video content, and you know, people say, well, if you're looking to save money, just go to the Philippines and, you know, pay somebody money to edit your video. Mm-hmm. But there are like legitimate creators like yourself that are on there, and there are legitimate brands like Netflix that are on there sourcing vendors and, you know, finding that. I mean, can you kind of talk to me about the vendor community on Fiverr? Like, is there anyone that you're networking with, or anyone that, you know, you're kind of inspired by within Fiverr that is, you know, growing their brand pretty well and kind of, you know, making a name for themselves while they're working for, you know, someone's birthday party or a giant brand like Netflix?
The way the Fiverr works is you're kind of in your own bubble unless you do connect with people. But the one thing I can say is I also hire people on Fiverr, be it guitarists for some of my personal songs. I hired a singer who's also an instrumentalist. I hired an animator to work with some stuff I was doing. I was blown away. Like, this was not even that long ago. I was like, I had this guitar player, and I said, hey, can you play some licks on my song? I was speechless. I said, how are you not signed? And then I got a Spanish singer for one of my songs called Guapo. And he said, do you want me to add trumpet? Do you want me to add? He played it so crazy. I said, how are you not signed? It was just so crazy. Because the atmosphere on Fiverr of the talent is mind blowing. Like, you're not gonna know the difference from a person that you see on TV versus. It just blew me away. Like, the animator, they actually worked on some shows for the anime show. And I don't think they revealed too much of like their name because they wanted to make sure it was separate from that. But they kind of like hinted at what they were working on, and I was like, this is crazy. I'm working with a legit person in the business. So Fiverr, however you may have thought about it 5 years ago, I don't know. Right, like the past few years, I've been blown away as a buyer, and I always recommend people who sell on Fiverr buy, so you can know what kind of service you're giving, and you know what feels good when they check up on you, when they tell you nice things, when they're respectful. So that way I tailor-made my work when I deliver. I know that you're waiting for this. Thank you for your patience. So I always recommend, if you're going to sell, be a buyer, you know?
Great advice. We've definitely used Fiverr, for logo designs, for creative support. And I think that's something for, especially like small businesses to understand is,
Yeah.
sometimes they're trying to work with like an ad agency and, they get the bill and they're like, whoa, we can't afford to do a $50,000, project, but, maybe we can work with a smaller creator and, get an incredible content and we're paying a fair price. And it helps both parties. I mean, I think it's an incredible tool, a powerful tool to use. And again, this is an episode that's not sponsored by Fiverr, but Fiverr, if you want to sponsor the show,
We've
give us a
also
call.
reached out to Fiverr to talk. So
yeah. But it's such a great resource for people to use. And I love your advice about, if you are a creator on the platform, buy content on there as well. It's huge.
Oh yeah. And I think we're only at the precipice. I know it's been out over a decade now, but I think I'm just feeling like there's so much more to be seen with this platform, because, man, there's even more content creators now than there ever was. And to know that you have that at your disposal to anything you can think of, not just graphics work, but anything. It's crazy. It's very exciting, to be honest with you. Very exciting.
What's your turnaround time? Like if I was looking to create a jingle for a presentation or a birthday party, what's kind of the process to work with you and turnaround time for that?
I'll tell you my absolute truth. I have it preset at 3 days, because if I get 10 orders, I needed some leeway to kind of breathe, like gotta live. But the actual time it takes is probably 30 minutes to an hour. What I do is similar to when you have a test the next day and you didn't study and your brain gets on hyper focus. That's what I do every time. I'll read over the notes once the order comes in, and then I'll just live. I'll just breathe. And then, but when I actually get to it, I'm hyper focused. And then I listen to it again, listen to the beat, and like, okay, I like this. Because it's no different than me stretching out 3 days versus 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you're gonna get the best of me, because I'm very excited, and it's emotion, it's emotive. And when I stretch it out, I'm using this. But music always gotta come from here. It always has to come from the gut. Up here, you're gonna second guess that you ran out of breath on one part, but not knowing that running out of breath felt so real, and it's like, oh, I like that part. But when you start to be like, oh, that's not perfect, the brain messes you up. This is like analytical, and the heart is just feeling. And we connect from people with feeling always.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. And if you're listening to this, it made the cut. If not, we cut it out. But I know that you do a lot of projects for brands, but I imagine it's got to be, a passion of yours to also create your own, music, lyrics, bars, that kind of thing. Can you show us anything right now?
This is from a verse from a song I did called Automatic. All right, so that's automatic. Real love, no, it ain't plastic. Y'all stay down with a passion. So I had to make something classic. Get up in the studio, just spazzing. Said, I go nuts. They gon' trust. What I say is authentic. Even if I don't talk about drugs, I don't cuss. I grew up. I don't judge. I've been to jail only once. I got friends in the pen doing 40, way too much. Been at the bottom and I seen a lot of teacher or a reverend. But what I'm addressing is my inner thoughts. I hope you get the message. Told my wife I love you. Found out she was pregnant. Rub it on her belly and I started yelling, I got you. I'm rolling. Anywhere you go, I go. That's automatic. Hey, you know it. Anywhere I go, you go. That's automatic. That's all I got.
I love it.
That was great.
That was awesome.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And we definitely want to give you the opportunity here, for any of our listeners out there that are maybe interested in connecting with you, finding out more about the work that you do. What is the best way for them to connect with you?
Of course, Fiverr. My name on Fiverr is Burton M6. So if you're inquisitive about a rap for your podcast, a show, your YouTube, anything where you think a rap would work, hit me up, Burton M6 on Fiverr. And if you're just interested in finding out more about me, my life, it's Keybeaux at all social platforms, Spotify, everywhere. Keybeaux.
it's the Cajun
That's exactly
It's
influence.
why.
occasion.
That's
like
It's
it.
exactly why.
occasion.
It's
I
exactly
saw
why.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll
Yep.
definitely link to everything in the show notes below. So if you're listening to this right now on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, just go ahead and scroll down, click on the links, and definitely reach out and connect with Michael. And I think this has been a fun interview. We've had a handful of
Oh,
musical artists on, but I don't know that we've ever had anyone that is so ingrained on the communication side of it and really focused on building the brand, working with brands, and providing that creative direction. So I think it's been a ton of fun today. We really appreciate it.
okay. It's been such a pleasure. I had to rap because my cousin always told me when we used to play ball, he said, "You want to go hoop some random time?" I said, well, "I don't have." He said, "A hooper always has a ball and his shoes, always. So if I say I rap, I have to always have it at my disposal, no matter I'm 70 years old. It's just been ingrained in me. So if I'm sitting here saying I rap and I don't rap, I don't rap."
Always be prepared. So Hattie,
Always.
Thomas, take note. If a podcaster, always bring your mic with you. You never know.
My mic's always with me, son.
Or we all have
Oh, you
iPhones.
want a
You can just record it
podcast?
on there.
Oh, you want a podcast? We doing it right now. Yeah, that's cool. It's been a great pleasure. Great
Awesome.
pleasure with
Well,
y'all.
Michael Burton, thank you so much for joining us on the Business Communicators podcast. And again, if you want to connect with him, scroll down links below. You can follow his personal pages, and you can also go to Fiverr and check out all the work that he's done. And that's Burton M6 on Fiverr. So we'll again link to that. But Michael, thank you so much for joining us on the Business Communicators.
Thank
for having
you.
me.
Thank
for having
y'all.
That was a blast.
That was fun.
That was a lot of
me.
fun.
That was.
See, I can bring you different.
We want that. We want that.
I love it when we find the innovators who are pushing the envelope in just business communications. We talk about social media pushing forward and always going forward, but we have to remember that sometimes the basics.
Same old stuff. I'm
Come back
glad
to the
that I read a
basics.
lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
And so
I was
you
also
never know what
wondering.
you find.
Exactly. I was also wondering about Cameo. I was like, so you're the original Cameo. You create custom things.
Yeah, but I think that's so cool because we always talk about being creative, and I think sometimes in the corporate jobs you can feel stifled in your creativity. And I think the cool thing is he's got a passion and is following that passion and helping brands be creative and innovative, and that's so cool.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
And you can make a living on platforms like Fiverr. I mean, if you're talented, people are going to find you. It's like that joke that we always said playing baseball. If you could throw 100 miles an hour and you lived in the most remote part of the world, an MLB scout will find you. it's very similar in that regards. If you're talented and you put out good work, people are going to recognize that and they're going to find you. And yeah, awesome, absolutely loved it.
Absolutely.
Hats off to you, Hattie.
Strong work.
Well, I definitely don't want to end the episode on kind of a somber note, but we did think that we had to talk about this a little bit. Uvalde, Texas on Tuesday, just west of San Antonio, mass shooting, 21 people dead, 19 elementary school students, 2 teachers, and very, very tragic situation that has been ongoing crisis situation in the state, and it's one that we've had far too much of in our country, especially recently. And things need to happen and get done, and the fallout behind it has just been devastating. Just kind of hearing the news that has broken over the last few days about what went wrong, from a response perspective, it's disturbing. I think each time something like this happens, we've almost become desensitized to it in the United States because it's happened too often. But I think when it hits close to home in our home state, and it happens at an elementary school where these kids were 2 days away from summer vacation, it's fucked up. And I've been very emotional this entire week thinking about it. And yeah, it's really bothersome. And Thomas, I'm going to turn it over to you. I can see it in your eyes right now. We chatted about this a little bit via text on Tuesday and Wednesday about it kind of hitting home to you because you've got girls that age. I don't know. I don't know what my question is, but
you say that, and the day it broke, I was slammed under work, and all I saw was the headline coming across the thing. It wasn't almost until like 9 o'clock that night that I actually was able to read the actual details of it from there. And I think that's when you and I were talking was at 9 or 10 o'clock at night about it. And what really, really, really scared me, hurt me, thought about it was the next morning when I was dropping off my kiddos at school. First one went fine. The toddler going to an elementary or a daycare went great, but dropping off the kindergartner at the school, and literally as I'm sitting in line to drop them off, the NPR is coming on the story. And growing up in Texas, it's right there. I actually have family that lives in Uvalde. It does. It hits extremely close to home, and I don't know what the solution is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I just hope that we do make changes, because it seems too long we do the same thing. The definition of insanity: let's do the same thing and hope for different outcomes. No, we need to make changes, and we need to figure out what those changes are and enact them, and not just play the political game. I think it's funny that the NRA is having a conference in Houston, Texas, pretty much as we're recording this podcast. And I also think it's funny that some of the speakers there are banning guns at their talks. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, you talk about the political arm of it. Again, I'm not attacking the NRA by any stretch of the imagination. All I'm saying is be the voice of change. Let's make some changes. Let's not stay the status quo.
If you're going to make a change, you got to take a stand. So it's not about, yes, it is. It is about telling people, saying it like it is, because what bugs me is it's not just Uvalde, it's also Buffalo. You've had 2 mass shootings within
3. There was a church in
however many, the
Asian
number
church
is
in
too
California.
much.
Exactly. One's
And
too
when
many.
you say that we're sitting here playing political, everything is political. Instead of saying we don't know what the solution is, we do know what the solution is. We need to take action and make it happen. That's the thing. We put our lives in the hands of people who don't give a flying kahula about any of us, not even you. So when we say, I thought about it, my kid, it's not just kids, it's anybody. We can't go anywhere without looking over our shoulders. It doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter where. We can talk about this all day long, but if nothing is actually taking action, and people say I'm not going to offend why not? They should be offended. They shouldn't be here.
Yep.
And there was a petition out that was hoping, trying to get people to cancel it. And I don't blame them. I'm not going to sit back and cry. We need to do something. Yes, I empathize, I sympathize all day long, but thoughts and prayers, we're done with this. We don't need thoughts and prayers. We need action.
Yeah, people need to get angry. They need to demand change. That's the only way stuff's going to get done. I was very disappointed in leadership in Houston and Harris County and the state of Texas for not telling the NRA to, go home. Having this event in Texas, 400 miles away from where it happened.
How do we know we didn't tell them that?
They probably afraid of lawsuits. We've seen some politicians pull out, some country artists that were scheduled to sing there that have pulled out. A lot of them haven't. Donald Trump is there. Greg Abbott pulled out. I believe the jurisdiction for the rental for the George R. Brown, where the event is taking place, is under Mayor Turner, and Mayor Turner has been very vocal.
It's under the city of Houston.
Yeah,
yes.
He's been very vocal against some of the inaction that has taken place in our state, but he wouldn't commit to.
I will say this: we can point fingers all day long at anybody. At the same time, nothing is being done. Nobody said anything about what Abbott was saying on at the press conference. Nobody, just because he pulled out does not make him complicit.
It's theater. This. Yeah, no, it's theater.
Anybody else?
If he really cared, he wouldn't have held a fundraiser that night. A political fundraiser that night.
We're gonna say names. Let's say all their names, okay?
Yep, 100%.
And no, I'm
Approved,
not
John Cornyn.
angry. I'm being firm here. So, okay.
No, we're all aligned in this. So,
Yeah.
and I think one of the, I do want to kind of throw in some communications element of this. The crisis communication side of things has been a disaster. There's been a lot of misinformation that has come out, and it's not coming out based on anonymous sources from Twitter or Reddit. It's coming out from incident commanders, from the Texas Department of Public Safety, just throwing out inaccurate information, shifting the blame
Mm-hmm.
when they are directly responsible for waiting an hour to breach the school.
Mm-hmm.
These are some tweets from Friday mid-morning during a press conference I'm going to read right now. They come courtesy of Sewell Chan, who is the editor-in-chief at Texas Tribune. The incident commander inside believed they needed more equipment and more officers to do a tactical breach. Meanwhile, there were 19 officers available to act. Texas DPS Director McCraw, it was the wrong decision, very wrong. There's no excuse for that. When there's an active shooter, the rules change. There is no longer a barricaded subject. You don't have time. He furthered, I don't have anything to say to the parents other than that what happened. We're not here to defend what happened. We're here to report the facts, which they've reported facts incorrectly. Uvalde parents now know that not everything possible was done to save their children. Our parents owed an apology. That was a question that was asked by a reporter. He responded, if I thought it would help, I'd apologize. He furthered by saying, but let me say this. When you go back to the timeline, there was a barrage. Hundreds of rounds were pumped in 4 minutes into those classrooms. Any firing afterward was sporadic, and it was at the door. He said it was wrong in hindsight. It's disgusting. 19 children who were supposed to enjoy summer vacation starting on Thursday now have grieving families. And the police and first responders, rather than doing their job to serve and protect, are pointing fingers.
They serve and protect who they choose.
It's not just 19 children and 19 children's families. It's an entire community.
Ravaged. And it's a tight-knit community.
Uvalde will never be the same because of this. Yep. It is I say small, it's a medium-sized city, but it's a small community. Southwest Houston.
Community is community. At the end of the day, it's people who are suffering because people didn't do their jobs in either place. This is just the most recent.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are worried about the wrong thing.
And you talk about the crisis response, the crisis comms.
Mm-hmm.
All of us here are communicators, and all of us here know that we've gone through training in crisis and things like that. And you get to the point where you don't think, you act. And in times of crisis, you don't think, you act. You don't play the political game, you act.
Everything was very poorly done from communication to action. So there was no strategy. And it's unacceptable.
Yep. Absolutely. And I hope as media, all of our media people who are listening to this understand at times it's not okay to be first. It should always be accurate, be right, get the information.
The families deserve that.
100%.
We don't want to we could spend hours probably talking about this. I'm not going to do that. I think we've already said our points and gotten it out there. I'll close with this. Some GoFundMes that are set up to support the victims' families. They're going through very difficult times. They're verified. Donate to them. Donate to nonprofits that are doing great work to get gun legislation passed. Call your congressman, their office, write them. And if you're not registered to vote, vote.
And vote hard in November. Yep. Y'all better start voting. Stop talking and start voting.
I think that's the only way that you can create change. So that's our thoughts on that. We don't want to discuss, we didn't want to discuss this, but I felt we had to. Kind of difficult to have a fun interview with Michael and then talk about this, but I felt we had to, especially since it happened so close to home. And I hope that we never have to have this conversation again. But I'm sure we will. But anyways, special thanks to Michael Burton for joining us on the Business Communicators this week. And we'll scroll down below on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this, and definitely connect with him. And if you're looking for some creative work being done, he's the guy for the job. And on behalf of our guest this week, Michael Burton, and my co-host, Hattie Horn, Thomas Bain, my name's Austin Staton. See you next week.